He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I saw a group of people. They were scratching their chests and their faces with copper nails. And I asked Jibreel alayhi salam, Ya Jibreel, who are these people? These people literally scratching their faces off. And he said, these are the people who ate the flesh of others by backbiting, and they trampled people's honor. The scholars mention that the connection here is that when you humiliate someone in this life by damaging their reputation, you make it harder for them to show their faces in public, which means you're effectively removing them from society. So here, the people that do so are literally removing their own faces as a punishment. And that's just the beginning of it. The Prophet ﷺ said, the worst people in the sight of Allah on the day of resurrection will be two-faced people. People who appear to some with this face and to another group of people with another face. In another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, the worst person on the Day of Judgment is a man who shares his wife's secret, the precious secrets of the spouse. And then in another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, the worst person is the one who people stop correcting because they don't want to deal with his foul mouth. The worst person is the one who uses their tongue to abuse or betray, and that person is going to be miserable on that day for the misery that they caused others in this life. So what does that look like? Ammar ibn Yasir, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, the person who has two faces in this world will have two tongues of fire on the Day of Judgment. SubhanAllah. Notice here the emphasis on fire, because the secrets and honor of people are so sacred to Allah that when you violate those boundaries, you're pouring fire in your ears and on your tongue. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever spies on people's conversations will have lava poured into their ears on the Day of Judgment. Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu once said, to make mention frequently of people is a disease, and to make mention frequently of Allah is the cure. And if you talk too much about the business of other people, you're going to fall. That's why Umar radiyallahu anhu also said, he said, if you talk too much, you're going to mess up too much, which means you're going to have too many sins and you're going to have a greater likelihood of entering into the fire. This tongue can do so much damage here. You can ruin the reputation of someone else. You could paralyze an entire community with gossip and with slander. And now with the internet, you can spread lies throughout the entire world. But as much chaos as your tongue does here to others, it damages your hereafter far more. Now the flip side of that is that a tongue can speak a small word of goodness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever defends the reputation of his brother in his absence, Allah will defend his face from the fire on the day of resurrection. So it's the complete opposite.